people who have nothing to hide, hide nothing. So if it's, let me see your phone. No. Why? Because of the principle of like, it's easier to slide that thing over. And then you can talk about where's this distrust coming from. But it's after you have tried to, validate how you feel. Like validation doesn't always mean agreement. It just means I hear you. Okay, that's a thought. And if you want my perspective, here it is. But to shut it down with a direct, denial in a fight, that typically leads to, or is a symptom of, or a sign of some stuff going on.
Something's
That's just
happening.
a reality.
Yeah,
I mean, over half of marriages end due to infidelity. So this isn't like a rare thing. This is how you get caught up in lies. I don't think most men who set out to gaslight are trying to be evil manipulators. I think from my own experience, you just catch yourself in such a stupid position where your only hope is to just cause as much confusion as you can
to get out of it. Yeah.
To get out of it. And that's
wow.
So, and Laura's talked to a lot of women, and sometimes now she'll ask me for my perspective as she's helping somebody, but I think she encourages women to go with your gut. Go with your gut and ask somebody about it and try to gauge the reaction of the man in question. Is he open to it? Is he trying to, or is he defensive? Like that defensiveness is a big word that Laura uses a lot. And it's still something I have to continue to always work through. Because I'm still getting through that. Like from all the way back when I was an abused little guy, when I didn't feel protected, I've always been a fighter. I've always been a guy who's like, tell me the rules so I can break it. Didn't know where that was from. Found out, and because my therapist asked me, she's like, have you always gotten in trouble? I'm like, oh, since kindergarten. She's like, if you're at a red light and nobody else is around, you're running that thing all day. I'm like, everyone doesn't do that?
Right.
I'm like, why? It doesn't make any, logically, why would I stay? I mean, that law is stupid. And she's like, yeah, not everybody thinks like that. There's a lot of people who stay at that red light. I'm like, well, those people must be really fun at parties. But the concept of understanding where defensiveness comes from, everything has a root. And once I found out that root, I catch myself all the time now going, why am I being defensive? I have nothing to hide. Please start that again.
Wow.
I had an interaction with my neighbor the exact same way. She's an older lady from the Ukraine, and we were having a very mild neighborly conversation about where my dog leaves his.
Yeah.
And it was going so bad. And I went, ma'am, do you mind if we start over?
Wow.
And she goes, no. And I said, I'm Carl. You are whatever. I started this one. This is on me. I can make sure my dog doesn't do this. And we laughed, but I had to consciously snap out of this, my fight first, defend first mechanism. So it's not something I just have arrived at. So I think in general, defensiveness is typically something to look into.
What I'm hearing you say is if a woman is experiencing uncertainty in their gut, lean into it.
Yep.
Confront the man they're with.
Yes.
And if they still feel uncertain, if that man hasn't made her feel safe.
Yeah.
To what she needs to feel safe, whether it's justified or not, but it's whatever she needs to feel safe.
Yeah.
Then maybe you need to find a therapist to talk to, a friend to talk to, and say, hey, am I going crazy here? I feel like I might be gaslit, but he's telling me he's saying the truth.
Yeah.
But something still doesn't feel right. And start kind of unpacking that and see how to take the next steps.
Yeah.
To get to create safety for yourself and clarity within the relationship.
We've been doing this for our whole life. We've been helping couples, and rarely there is the type of marriage with the wife or the woman is super paranoid and it's crazy. Mm-hmm. It's few and far between them.
Right, it's rare.
Very few is there. Where did you go? Went to the gym. No, you didn't.
And it's more of probably a wound they haven't healed.
Correct.
From someone else doing
and
this
that
to them.
is a legitimate thing. So for the guy who's sitting home right now, to like, it's not me. I'm the other guy. It's like, okay, it could be, but that's why it's always helpful to get another set of eyes in there to say, what's going on? Let me objectively look at your situation and just try to give you all some wisdom. And it's crucial. If we would have done that, who knows?
Right. Man, this is powerful. I'm curious, how do you feel about the leader of the church who kind of helped you, brought you up? What's your relationship with him like now? What's his name? Brian
Houston. Yeah.
How do you feel about him? What is your relationship or lack of with him now 4 years after this?
No relationship, zero communication. Talked I think we had one email exchange after I was fired, and we haven't talked since.
Really?
It's nobody's fault. It's just kind of the way it is. I don't harbor any bitterness towards him. I think in that way, our relationship, I failed him as one of his leaders, and that's the reality.
And he failed you in certain ways.
Sure, absolutely. But I failed first, so that's what I get to focus on. And how he handled it afterwards, that's another discussion for other people. It doesn't do anything for me. So I have learned how to stay free of offense, is to look at myself in the mirror. Where did I go wrong? What did I do? And then when I feel the temptation to point fingers or want to get mad, which is there, it can be sometimes, often. Other times I don't think about it. There'll be some days where will be consumed with anger or bitterness or whatever. I just try to give grace because I need it. I need people to give me grace. So I know the measure that I give will be given back to me. So I think about that often when I want to judge anybody. I'm like, I don't want that kind of judgment coming back at me. So
did you used to be more judgmental pre-scandal?
No. I think subconsciously I was way less judgmental because of the stuff that I was hiding.
Because you knew you had some. You're like, oh, it's okay. You can, I don't judge you because I know in the back of my mind, I'm doing some of this.
It was a juggle. I mean, because there are times where I would be hardcore, almost legalistic on some things, and other things super gracious. So that was a confusion in my own mind from my own life. But with Brian, I focus on the good too. Some people go through a horrible situation and they don't grieve properly, so all they remember is the pain.
Yeah,
I got great help with grieving. So I grieved my relationship with one of my spiritual heroes. He was that. He's like, I have the greatest dad in the world. Brian was, the next thing I had to a man that I really looked up to and trusted. He helped me, gave me a chance to do great things, and it went bad.
Yeah. What do you say to people that, or how have you learned to express this and feel this? That when a man or woman does a bad behavior or hurts someone or does something that they shouldn't do, legally, morally, ethically, all the different things that you could do. But they're not always that way. And a lot of the times they are also doing some good or kind or generous or, gracious or all these different things, graceful. How do we navigate this? The dynamics of, okay, there's a person in my life who did something really bad to me, but they've also done a lot of good. Mm-hmm. Are they a bad person? Are they evil and wrong? Should I never speak to them again? It's like, how do you forgive? How do you navigate the mess of human beings when we make mistakes? I don't know how to answer this question, but I'm curious.
I'm not sure there is one answer to that.
Yeah.
I actually think it depends on what's your outcome.
Case by case,
What do you want? Do you want justice? Do you want accountability? Do you want peace? Do you want grace? I think it's just everyone has to make that decision of like, what am I after? So like my relationship with Brian, am I after justice? Am I after accountability? Some of that stuff might be required. I'm after peace in my soul. So that's my choice. How do I get peace in my soul? I forgive and I give grace and I leave the other stuff to other people and God. That's my choice. If I wanted justice, maybe I'd have a different response. So I think what's your vision is a great question to ask people. When you're mad, like, what's the end of the road here? If you don't know it, you got to rethink it, because then you're just wandering around, swinging at stuff you don't even know. Like, my goal for this situation here is to have a friendship again. So I'm going to navigate it a certain way.
Yeah.
My goal here is peace, and I never want to talk to them again. This is how I'm going to navigate.
I'm creating a boundary.
Yeah. Both are healthy.
Do you think you could ever have a relationship with Brian again?
I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I think
the
short answer is God can do anything. Life is long.
Yeah, sure.
I'm good. Like I don't think we'd ever have I can't say that. I don't know. It's not on my radar.
Not something you're thinking about. Yeah.
I got so many things I got to focus on that it's like, hey, God bless you. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care what you say, what you do. I hope the best for you.
Yeah.
Because I know that they've walked through some horrible things as well.
Sure.